All right, so now going to look at subtraction. So subtraction, as I said before, is just negative addition. In other words, it is doing addition backwards. So what does subtraction do? Subtraction tells you how far a second number is from a first number as you count up. For instance, if I were to do 9 minus 5, I would get 4. Well, why is that? Well, two ways to look at that. 5 plus 4 gives me 9 again. Or if I say, well, how far is 5 from 9 by going up? Well, it would be 4 away. So 9 minus 5 would be 4. And therefore, that's subtraction or negative addition. So if you think of subtraction in one of those two ways, it'll actually make it a lot easier now and in the future when you're looking at integers, negative numbers in the next unit. So that is subtraction in a nutshell. Well, let's take a look at this first problem here. So we have 847 minus 315. And so if we use one of those techniques we just talked about, again, starting from the ones place and we'll move up. Well, 7 minus 5. 7 minus 5 is going to have to be 2 because 5 is 2 away from 7 as you go up. Okay. Well, next we have 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1, if we go up, it would be 3 away. 1 would be 3 away from 4. Or if you think of it the other way, 1 plus what gives me 4? Oh, 1 plus 3. And lastly here, we get 8 minus 3. And 8 minus 3 would have to be 5. All right, so this is pretty straightforward and fairly simple. For many, you're like, oh, yeah, I remember that. But what about that one thing? What one thing? I wonder what that is. That one thing that's different. Well, let's take a look here. Well, we get 7. In this case, we're doing 917. 917 minus 523. All right. So first and foremost, and I would traditionally, I would like to do this a lot within my own head. And so I'm going to try my best to keep showing you how I would do these problems so that you get a feel for doing them yourself. And that is by estimating what my answer would be. So that way, if my answer is not close to it, then I most likely made a mistake somewhere. Well, I have 917 minus 523. I can just think of that as 900 minus 500. And 900 minus 500 would give me 400. So my answer should be pretty close to 400. And because this 17 is smaller than the 23, I could say it's going to be less than 400, but close to it. All right. So let's take a look and see what we get. 7 minus 3. Oh, we can still do that. So 3 is 4 away from 7. Okay, good. Now we have 1 minus 2. Oh, we can still do that. So how far away is 2 from 1 as you count up? Oh wait, I'll never get the 1. I never will. Okay, let's try the other method then. That's fine. Let's try the other method. So let's see. 2 plus what gives me 1? Some of you may be thinking, oh, that's a negative 1. We haven't talked about those yet. And that will kind of mess up this problem for now. So that's not it either. Well, I can't do 1 minus 2. And a lot of times when you were younger or even now, we say, well, I can't do that. Well, that's okay. We can change the way this looks because this 1 is a 1. It's a 1 in the tens place. But we can change the way it looks by borrowing a 1 from the hundreds place. Because we know that if I were to have, say, 11 tens, that's really just 110, right? Yeah, we talked about that when we were looking at our place values. As you move up another level, that just means that you had 10 of the previous level, and that's why you're able to move 1 up. Well, to borrow this, we're just going to change this 9 into an 8 and change this 1 to an 11. And that's probably how many of you were taught to do this. So now I can do 11 minus 2. 11 minus 2 will give me 9. Okay, and I can still do the next level as well. I can do 8 minus 5. We've done 8 minus 3 before. Same problem essentially though. So 8 minus 5 is going to be 3. And we end up with 394. 394. Well, we said it would be close to 400, right? And it is. And it's only 6 away, which actually is the difference between 23 and 17. And we said it would have to be smaller. So that's some other little math tricks that you can do to make this a little faster. We actually could have figured this out just from our estimation and realizing how far apart 23 and 17 was and just subtracted it from the estimation. So that's kind of cool. All right, so let's try one more here to finish this off. And so in this problem here, as you see, you would have to borrow to begin with because we can't do 6 minus 8. And if you keep looking, you can't do 2 minus 7 either. You can't do 1 minus 8, and you can't do 1 minus 3. Well, again, some people like to add zeros so they can see all the place values used, so you can do that if you want. But there's something else that's very interesting here. And this is actually what I usually tell a lot of people to do. I tell them to take care of all their borrowing in the beginning. All of it. Take care of all the borrowing in the beginning. Because it will make this go a lot faster for you and be a lot easier. So we already see that from the beginning, we need to borrow. We need to. So we will have to borrow from this 8, right? So I'm going to change that 8 to a 7. And then this 1 will have to become an 11. Okay, we already know we have to borrow from that because the next thing is 1 minus 8. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. So that's going to change this to a 10, and that makes this an 11. Okay, I still need to borrow from that. So I'm going to change that to a 10 and make this into a 12. Well, I'm still going to have to borrow from that. So I'm going to go ahead and make that an 11. And I'm going to go ahead and make this 6 a 16. And so now all my borrowing is done, and I can just subtract straight down. And that is the beauty behind doing this technique as opposed to borrowing one for one column, going down. Oh, I need to borrow again, go to the next column, borrow down. Oh, I need to go to the next one, borrow, subtract down. Oh, I need to go to the next one. Do it all at one time at the beginning, and all you have to do now is just subtract. So 16 minus 8, we will get 8. 11 minus 7, we will get 4. 10 minus 8, we will get 2. 10 minus 3, we will get 7. And 7 minus 0, we will get 7. So we will get 77,248. And that would be our answer. Now, what if we were to try to estimate this problem? Well, we could say that's like around 81, and this is around 4,000. So 81 minus 4,000 will give us 77,000. Okay, that's a pretty good estimate. That's pretty close to what we got. All right. So you also can check by adding these back up to see if you get the starting number. So we do 8 plus 8, we'd get 16, and bring the extra 10 over. 4 plus 7 plus the extra 1 will give us 12. Bring the extra 1 over. We'll get 11. Bring the extra 1 over. 11 again, and then we get 8. And so you can always check by adding the two numbers to see if you get the previous number. And so that is subtraction.